Alex Bayley. He's the CMO at the National Theatre, and he's going to talk about putting audiences at the heart of recovery. You couldn't be more aligned with our theme of forward for this event. So, Alex, without further ado, the time is yours.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. So I'm Alex. I'm Chief Marketing Officer at National Theatre, where I lead teams working across Marcom, sales and digital media output. The National Theatre is a charity, a not-for-profit, and we make theatre for everyone. We're based at this iconic concrete building on London's South Bank and inside of 3 theatre auditoriums where every year we stage around 20 new shows that reflect the world we live in. But we're an organisation that works right across the UK through touring and creative learning programmes for young people and communities. And we tour internationally, including regularly taking shows to Broadway like Warhorse and Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And since 2009, we've also been in cinemas worldwide with our National Theatre live broadcasts. So a year ago, that entire global operation was stopped in its tracks by COVID. And I'm here today to tell you what we've learned in the last year that we believe will be crucial to the future. And at the heart of that are our audiences. So it's been a period where, as an organisation, we haven't been able to deliver on our core purpose, supporting artists to stage incredible live theatre. What we have done in the last year is to deliver the nearest thing possible by making shows available digitally and with opportunities for audiences to come together around communal digital moments that deliver some of the buzz of going to see theatre live. It's been a fascinating action research project that's fast-tracked innovation and experimentation, even though we're so constrained with live performance. But it's especially interesting when combined with some pioneering research we undertook, which used applied neuroscience techniques to understand what audiences value most about theatre. So my provocation today is to ask, as all of us try to lay out a roadmap for recovery and future health of brands, have we done everything possible to understand what our audiences, what our customers truly value? Because in an immensely tough financial climate and a world of rapidly changing consumer behaviour, that feels essential. We have to build the strongest possible foundations. And by understanding what customers truly value, they will invest in our recovery. So first, I'm going to talk a bit about how we used digital in the last year. When the UK went into lockdown in March 20, we at the National Theatre felt we should deliver on our role as a theatre for the whole nation and bring people together to watch theatre while they were stuck at home. We've been broadcasting to cinemas for over a decade, but we didn't hold the rights for consumer streaming. Thankfully, the artists behind the work very quickly and generously agreed to enable us to offer free weekly streaming on YouTube every Thursday night, and we called it National Theatre at Home. We didn't really know what to expect in terms of numbers, but from the first week, we were blown away by the response. Because it felt like everyone needed some light relief, the first stream was One Man, Two Governors, a raucous comedy with James Corden, and that notched up nearly 1.5 million views in the week it was available and created a huge online conversation. At home, audiences served interval drinks and ice cream to their families. A huge proportion watched on smart TVs, making it a communal experience within their households. Others took that communal experience online and onto social, whether they were using YouTube live chat or other social channels. And we kept the weekly free streaming going throughout lockdown for 16 weeks, notching up a total of 50 million views across that period. We gave audiences the opportunity to donate to the National Theatre's work directly on YouTube, via our website or text message. And although that didn't go anywhere near to replacing the income that we were losing through being closed, we were overwhelmed by the generosity of audiences from across the UK and around the world, most of whom had never donated to us before. It meant we could also make fresh payments to the artists behind the work streamed. We started the free YouTube streaming because we wanted to keep delivering our core mission. But it returned not just valuable income from donations, but crucial fresh data and insight about the global audience for streamed theatre and a clear sense of how many people worldwide were invested in us as a brand. That gave us the confidence to build a paid streaming platform, also called National Theatre at Home, that launched in December. It offers subscription and pay-per-view options, and its popularity has so far outstripped all of our expectations. It's helping us to accelerate thinking around how we open up our future stage work digitally across both capture and distribution. This year, we made an original film of Romeo and Juliet with an incredible cast led by Josh O'Connor and Jessie Buckley. We brought together creatives from the theatre and film worlds to shoot the project in the huge backstage spaces of the theatre. in December. It's a new theatre film hybrid made from scratch for screen. You can see it on Sky Arts on Easter Sunday and PBS in the US later in April. And I can't wait to see what the world makes of it, because it's, again, widening the landscape of what theatre can be. The last year has hugely increased our understanding of what audiences value about the National Theatre, and suggested strongly that digital needs to be even more central to our future as a way of reaching and actively engaging people. We certainly don't have all the answers yet. We do have expertise in filming live performance for cinemas, and we've done a lot of R&D into using VR and AR and immersive. And we work with some of the most talented artists in the world who will be absolutely central to imagining the future. I think the road ahead will need to be shaped by the National Theatre, artists and audiences together. New possibilities around digital are opening up, but we're in a time of reduced resources. We had to take on a £20 million loan from government to stay afloat. And we must absolutely keep delivering on our live theatre at the scale and quality that we're known for. We're faced with big choices, so how can we root our decision-making in what audiences value the most, and make sure that as we change and evolve, we engage customers and supporters in a way that deeply resonates? How do we make them feel even more invested? Well, one fascinating way that we've looked at that question is through neuroscience. Rishi Coupland, our head of data intelligence, worked with Professor Patricia Riddell at the University of Reading on a study with 3,500 people who are representative of the UK population. Theatre is sometimes seen as an elitist art form for the few, not the many. But this study showed us that 70% of people would like to see theatre more often, with a surprising degree of commonality across demographic factors, including level of education and household income. And more than that, it helps us understand why people value theatre, what's special about it. Versus other forms of culture and entertainment, people said that theatre helps them escape the reality of everyday life, that it helps to manage their mood and supports their mental health. And above all, that it allows them to experience creativity more fully than any other pursuit. I'm heavily paraphrasing here, but it seems the suspension of disbelief that takes place when audiences watch theatre activates the brain, and one study suggests may even lead to a subtle alteration of consciousness. It's a gym for your mind that creates deep, lasting memories. The positive effect on mood correlates to a desire to re-attend. And we built on this study to understand what the effects around National Theatre at home were, which were broadly similar. So what does all of this mean for the future? Our experience of the last year, going through the biggest crisis in our history, has been to discover that through new digital engagement, a wider audience than we imagined are more deeply invested than we imagined in what we do. There's a clear opportunity to build on that and foster greater investment. But to do that, we'll need to evolve our products and services to reach a wider audience and to ensure that our communication with audiences goes to the heart of why we matter to them. We have more data points than ever before, including a huge amount of behavioural data flowing in from online offers, but we need depth as well as breadth, and we need to understand what, despite the many differences, our audiences have in common. The world after the pandemic isn't going to be the same. The brands we represent will all change and adapt, but the last year, I think, has across many sectors stripped back to the fundamentals, the role that brands play in customers' lives. And to me, that feels the most important place to start when it comes to imagining the future, not as a limiting factor, but as an absolute foundation for relevance as we embark into an era of the unknown. So let's keep asking ourselves what our audiences truly value. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Fantastic presentation. Very helpful. I can't wait to go back to theatre. So let's go through lots and lots of questions here. First one from another shy anonymous. Were there any issues over copyright as you went 100% digital and not live?
Yes. I mean, in truth, we absolutely have to have really close working relationships with artists. So every time we want a new usage, we do have to go back and secure those rights. And that's because we're a charity, we don't have huge sums to pay out up front. So it really, as we move through this changing digital use, we have to keep artist relationships really close. We have to listen to them, and we shouldn't take anything for granted. But that's really been the case ever since we started working digitally.
Question here from Sam. She asks, or he asks, you mentioned AR and VR. What have you been doing there, and what can we expect to come from the National Theatre?
Okay, so there's some quite exciting stuff. There's quite a breadth. So we've done a number of pieces, really experimenting with how theatre makers can work in VR. Theatre makers make work in 3D, right? They can't control where an audience looks on stage. So in a way, theatre is closer to VR than filmmaking is. So we've had quite a few experiments in that space. Some of them have been at film festivals, including Sundance. We had one at London Film Festival with the BFI as part of their immersive section last year. And we're also working on a thing called Universal Performance Space, which allows artists to essentially create work that can be viewed either through VR headsets, on a phone, or on screen, and combine elements in a kind of on a digital stage, which is really exciting.
Universal Performance Space. Can't wait to see what that's like when it comes out. Thank you so much. That was an absolutely fantastic West Really Laughing. Thank you so much. Talk to you again soon.